Kishimoto has teased a massive rescue mission for Kashin Koji by showing us a panel of Inojin using the mind jutsu at his secret hideout, and the one who could be after his life could be an undercover Uzumaki member. The red-haired Vital Affinity and Shinjutsu Compabilty. Code could have his own lore, where he is secretly associated with the infamous clan of Boruto, and the role that Jura gave him could completely change his destiny in the most unexpected way possible. Defeating Kashin Koji would symbolize bypassing fate itself, since he has become a symbol of fortune in the story. I will get there in a moment, but first take a look at this correlation of Koji and Code from the original Naruto. Jiraiya was killed by Pain, his own student, who went by the name of Nagato, a member of the Uzumaki clan. Now what's interesting is that both Nagato and Code got their hair turned from reddish orange to white in the story, and with the possibility for Code to be an Uzumaki too. Well, I hope you understand where this is going. He could be the one who would kill Kashin Koji, just like how Pain killed Jiraiya back in the day. The whole destiny rewriting itself plot could play a huge role here, as Kashin Koji might be similar to the person whose DNA was used to create him. But this parallel is not the only reason for this theory to work. There is something in Code's legacy itself that can only be bypassed by killing Kashin Koji. So let's understand what that is, on top of predicting why Inojin being at his hideout could be a sign of a failed rescue mission. It was chapter 75 when we got the first ever sneak peek sequence in Boruto, where Mitsuki and the others seem to be fighting someone who's trying to escape the village. Well, this was the best way to build up to the omnipotence twist, since the mystery to this character, who would for some reasons run away from Konoha, was huge. It was supposed to be Kawaki, but the POV of Boruto gave it an unexpected angle, with the most common interpretation being it was Borushiki who was being chased. But after 4 whole chapters, the naked truth got revealed to us in the form of a magic spell of Andthe, which had changed the reality for everyone into believing that Boruto was Kawaki. Now something similar could go down with all the new glimpses of futures as well. Like while the Sarada battle seems like it may be a full-fledged fight, it could turn out to be the redemption of Hidari after he sees the Mangekyo. And while everyone thinks Team 10 has been sent for Kashin Koji's rescue while Boruto was at bay, what if it's not even the same hideout, meaning Orochimaru could make an appearance in the manga? But to get to the most plausible answer, which connects all the dots, we will need to assume that Inojin has somehow made his way to Koji's hideout, which would most likely be to save him from some threat, very likely on the orders of Boruto. So now we need to understand what exactly is this huge threat, which has led to Konoha sending reinforcements for Kashin Koji. Well, in chapter 15, Jura offered Code a chakra fruit if he succeeded in killing Boruto, as well as his secret ally. Now one thing is already clear, that he's nowhere near the level of Boruto, but he can at least take down Kashin Koji, and I believe this due to a number of reasons. So before understanding why Koji actually needed some backup in this battle, let's get over to why Code defeating him could ultimately change his destiny. There is a clear contrast between the lives of these two Vital Kara members that I don't see anyone is talking about. What's more exciting is the fact that it's only because of these two that the story of Boruto has been moving forward. You must be knowing how Kishimoto's original vision was to cover up the tale fast, where Amado was never supposed to go to Konoha, and Kashin Koji's role was supposed to be different. Code was also supposed to die early if I remember correctly, but then Ikimoto dived in and made him unlock the hidden cyborgs, which eventually led to the omnipotence twist. On top of that, in Ikimoto's narrative, he made Code awaken the Shinjus, and rest is history. Kashin Koji's role was also reimagined after he was given the power of prescience, which dynamically changed the events of the story and even introduced alter futures where things were pretty different than what they are now. Now here is the thing. These pioneers of the new plot live completely opposite lives, fueled by fate and destiny. Kashin Koji, just like Jiraiya, accepted his death after fulfilling his mission, but unlike Jiraiya, Koji survived his fated death, awakened the Shinjutsu, and gained the power to see and change fate itself, breaking free from the curse of being a disposable tool. Code, on the other hand, was a normal human being, chosen to be Ishiki's vessel, raised to serve him completely. He is the exact opposite of Koji, as instead of fighting the Otsutsuki, he worships and obeys them. His life is a cycle of being used by others like Ishiki, Andthe, and Jura, which means he's never truly in control of his destiny. So some things are pretty clear by now. Koji is the man who escaped fate and can now reshape it, while Code is the man trapped by fate who gets used like a puppet. Now if a future fight breaks out based on the earlier discussed hints, it will symbolize Koji representing mastery over destiny and Code trying to break free from his fate for the first time. So if Code wins, it could start his transformation from a pawn into someone who controls his own fate, possibly by becoming an Otsutsuki himself. Looking at how Ishiki wanted Code to consume the chakra fruit, while Jura has offered him the same reward just for getting rid of Koji, things seem to align a bit too much. In the sneak peek for the latest chapter, we saw Team 10 Konohamaru and Himawari putting the soul thorn in Masuri's tree to revive her. This makes it clear that it will be all of them who would be sent to Koji's hideout to help him out from the situation. But this also means that Koji himself won't be enough to defeat Limitless Code. We know he was able to give a tough enough fight to Jigen that the weak vessel gave up and Ishiki had to come out to take matters in his own hands. So since Limitless Code is far stronger than base Jigen and only lacks the basic combat knowledge, there should have been a chance for Koji to at least fight him back a bit. But here is the thing, Code is not alone and would have the Claw Grimes with him too, putting Koji on a massive disadvantage. But there is one thing for sure, that he might somehow gain enough time to keep Code at bay till Team 10 and the others would reach at his rescue. It could be that Boruto would use the Flying Thunder God to teleport them there, but if that was the case, then he should have went there alone to deal with Code himself. So Boruto might be dealing with some other business and he could tell the whereabouts of Koji to Konohamaru and the others in order for them to reach there by time and save him. Inojin can be seen using the mind jutsu, so he's definitely updating the situation to someone on the other end, which in this case could be Boruto. So now let's get back to how Code secretly being an Uzumaki and somehow changing his fate by killing Kashin Koji could work out in this case. First off, I feel like Code is just the code name of this character. He could have a secret hidden name that he himself doesn't know about. The whole red hair thing brings in the possibility of Code being the child of some secret Uzumaki member, and there are a number of hints to back this up. Like the way he survived the karma experiment of Ishiki, it was pretty similar to sustaining the pressure of a Jinchuriki ritual. What's interesting is that he has never been given that much of a positive limelight in the story so far, maybe because the writers are cooking the best ever comeback for him. The other two karma users are also Uzumaki, one by birth and the other through the deception of omnipotence. So the Uzumakis being the only ones to possess the karma of the Otsutsuki would be a symbolic addition to the plot. Now as for him getting rid of Kashin Koji, well, it might be something plausible too, based on how broken the power of prescience is and the unfair advantage that it provides to the heroes. One such interpretation that hit my mind when I was looking at the Inojin panel was that, what if the reason Inojin is using the mind jutsu is to communicate back to Konoha, just to tell them that Koji is dead or fatally injured? Well, this would be a shocking plot twist, as it would mean that these were the last visions of Kashin Koji and he couldn't see beyond, since he was brutally injured at this point, with the final vision being the one where he sees Himawari, which concludes his power to look further, as there doesn't exist any future where he is present after the flash forward. Code must still be stronger than Konohamaru and Team 10, and while we haven't seen many of his feats, it's still likely for Himawari to take him down. So the reason Koji saw her as one of the final visions could be because either she's gonna save him by destroying Code, or she could come as a healer to him, which may be how he eventually survives if the writers want him to stay a bit longer. Now let's get back to the Nagato analogy that I mentioned in the beginning, because it just gives a fresh and reasonable angle to understand why Koji dying from Code's hand is inevitable at this point. You already know the whole sauce based on how I explained the analogy, but there's one thing that Ishiki mentioned which could turn out to be a turning point in Code's life. He said all genes are predestined and all people have a predetermined fate. He then goes on to say that Jiraiya bore a mighty fate, which is now ran down by his clone Kashin Koji. But unlike Jiraiya, who wasn't able to escape, Koji actually did, and that's when his destiny changed. He went from trapped in a cycle of predetermined events to someone who could foresee all the future events. But what if this unchanged destiny factor has just been delayed in Koji's case? Here's why I exactly believe so. There could be some timeline where Koji died similar to Jiraiya from the chakra rods of Ishiki, but just because he managed to escape, his Shibai cells triggered and gave him the power of prescience. This means what was meant to happen originally completely changed after he awakened the power of 10 directions. We could see the flashback panel where he's lying in front of Ishiki when he got the visions. This means the ability awakened before he escaped, giving him some hope to change his own fate, and all of that came when Ishiki was preaching to him that how he will die just like Jiraiya. But here is the thing, since all genes are predestined, what if even though Ishiki couldn't kill him at this spot, someone with his genes could be able to do it? And I'm not talking about Kawaki here. It might actually be Code, since the spirit of Ishiki personally came to him to pass down his will. So what the Otsutsuki left incomplete could now get fulfilled by his most loyal follower, which would push him one step further to obtaining the chakra fruit. You must have heard theories about Code being the final villain by somehow avenging all the disgrace. The oldest speculations were something like him stealing the chakra fruit from Jura, but now that the Shinju himself has offered him one, it could change the entire trajectory of the story. Code even tells Jura that he will be the one to laugh at the end, and what's more suspicious is the white karma seal, which doesn't operate like a normal karma. So defeating Kashin Koji, a symbol of fate, might change his own fate in the story, where he would slowly lean towards becoming the next big villain, not immediately after the Shinju are sabotaged, maybe not even after Boruto and Kawaki battle, but there would certainly come a point in the story where Code would gain his lost respect back. No one expected him to get brutally betrayed and thrashed by Daemon. Then came a point where he created his own army, but in an unexpected twist of events, he led to the birth of even powerful beings who are out of his control and at this point are dictating his actions. While Jura might be curious about the effects of the chakra fruit, in case he actually rewards Code for his loyalty, there is a slight chance for him to actually become a Majin Buu type of villain. We also don't know why exactly his karma has been whitened, and if there's any chance for him to obtain the powers of Ishiki after consuming the chakra fruit, then I feel like his journey would go from a comical character to a villain with the most horrendous comeback. If you are looking for more such videos, there are plenty of them on my channel, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.